Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Friday Reads, where I talk about all the books that I've read or plan on reading this weekend. In this case, a book that I'm still reading, which is Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. It's really, really hot. We had something going on with our air conditioner years ago. And was it the air conditioner? Yeah, I think that's where it started. So we had an issue with our air conditioner. And so my husband found somebody. I don't want to offend anybody, but my husband found somebody from somewhere. Him and his partner in crime. They did some stuff, and ever since then, our air conditioner has never been able to work properly for too long. And so, I'm laughing because this has been going on for years. And my husband is so stressed out about it because he doesn't seem to want to come to terms with reality. He could really be seriously oblivious to the scam that he experienced, but he hasn't come to terms with it yet. And so we're constantly having to call new people in, and they add that liquid freeze or whatever kind of liquid into the unit or whatever that thing is called. And then it runs out really fast, and then he got to call him again. And every single time he's just always so he's always taken aback. Again, there's something wrong again. What do you think? But what do I know? I'm just a stay-at-home mom. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's a little hot, and so I might be sweating. I did turn it on, so hopefully it activates. But if not, I do have a little mini fan that I'm not trying to use because I don't want to have that fan noise. But listen, I'm of the point in my life where I genuinely just don't care. So I might just turn it on, and I'm not even gonna care. I mean, obviously if it's loud, then I'm gonna be disappointed. But if it's a little hum in the background, it's just whatever, But so that's been going on. Yesterday we had some crab kickers. Ever since I was pregnant with my daughter, I have this craving for crab kickers, or blue crabs. That's what they're called. Yeah, blue crabs. Never used to eat them like that because I didn't like having to clean it. And so I always stuck to crab legs. And when me and my husband got together years ago, over a decade ago, we always used to eating crab legs. And so that's always been a thing. And once I got pregnant with my daughter not too long ago, I no longer had the craving, or I stopped liking crab legs. And so now I just like crab kickers. They split it for you, and they clean it for you, and they season it for you. And it's just, it's delicious. And so we had a big old platter yesterday, and we ate until our stomach was content. And then we saved some for the next day, and we ate some more. And so that's been our weekend. It's been really chill. I started looking up some puzzles that I wanted to get. There is this Basquiat puzzle from what is it? Is it Gallison? That I was interested in getting. I think it's 15 or 17 bucks. So I'm thinking I might get that. I'm not really sure. It's really dark. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a picture over here of it if I can remember. If you see a hole in my shirt, please do not mind it. Okay, I'm going to bed after this. So that's what that is. Almost forgot. So remember last week when I had mentioned about staying out of the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef? Starting now, I am for sure done. I feel like I've gotten in way too deep with this whole situation. So much so that I call myself being on some sort of panel. And it's so embarrassing because it's so unlike me. I opened up to my friend and I told her about it, and we were cracking up. She's like, you have to send me the video. I have to hear this. And so I sent her the video and she watched it, and oh my gosh, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Because like, I wasn't too deep. But yes, so this week like I said, we are still here holding on strong. I got my little tarot card here as a bookmark, which my daughter keeps taking out. I'm currently on page 275. And this is where me and my friend decided to leave off together, even though yesterday she ended up reading 50 pages ahead. We're supposed to be doing 25 pages a day. So I had to pretty much catch up. My thoughts on things so far, because I kind of feel like my brain is a little blank. And this is why I would like to do the weekly reads as opposed to doing the book reviews towards the end of the book, because I'm not the type to write things down, even though I really want to be that person. And I'm not really good with my memory, which is really unfortunate because I did theater for like over 4 years. And so memorizing scripts should have done something to my brain that would allow the ability to memorize things easy. But it's not. The last time we talked, I think we were talking about when the lady was, she was predicting everyone's deaths. So now we are at the point where we have 3 deaths. We're waiting on the last one. And we get more backstory on the death lady. So her name is Cherry. And she pretty much grew up, her mom and her grandmother, they were into fortune telling and doing all that kind of stuff. And she's pretty much just going back in time to explain to us where, how we all got here. But going through her backstory, we get a better understanding for why she's deciding to do what she's doing and what this all means to her. I kind of get an understanding because when she was young, her dad passed away in a crazy, tragic way, and it's been instilled in her subconscious the memory of her mom feeling as if like she could have stopped it, because she had this gut feeling that something bad was going to happen and she didn't act upon it. And that is the reason why her mom gets so heavily into the whole fortune telling thing. She becomes I forgot her name again, which is so crazy because I was talking to my friend about it and I was like, what was her name again? I don't know if it's Mother May or Madam May or something like that, but that's how she becomes Madam May. And that's how Cherry is brought up. I guess because at first it was, like I was saying before, it was a hard time for me to grasp why she told the child, or why she told the mother Paula about her child's death. It was really hard for me to understand why she would do something like that. But I guess, because of her personality and the traumatic experience she experienced when she was a kid, I guess I can understand why she did it, right? Now, with these 3 deaths that's taken place in this day and age where they're living in social media times, she becomes pretty popular, and she becomes known as the death lady, because there's a recording of the first death and the victim talks about the lady on the plane. And so there is that situation. And so that whole thing goes viral. And then with the other 2 deaths, the daughter comes out and speaks about the lady on the plane predicting the deaths. And so now she's becoming well known throughout Europe, I guess, maybe the world. I don't know. We get more into Ethan, which I absolutely love his chapters. I would say he's my favorite. I know back then I think in the other video I said Eve, but I think I was trying to say Paula, Sue, and Max. But now this time around, I'm really loving Ethan's perspective. Well, not his perspective, but Ethan's story. I'm loving and enjoying Eve's story. Those are the 2 main ones that are pretty much standing out to me this time around. So with Ethan, he is predicted to die. I don't know if it's his birthday. Yeah, he's expected to die on his 31st birthday. I think he's 30. His 31st birthday, he's supposed to die. And it's like months, like the time span, right, is months apart. From the moment he hears about it to the moment it's supposed to happen. And his death is supposed to happen is supposed to be caused by like some sort of like physical altercation or whatever the case may be. Now, this is the same character that was like all like, he was not obsessed, but he was interested and fascinated with the idea of death. When he finds out that he's going to pass and it's going to be pretty soon, he thinks about his friend and he kind of breaks down. Well, he does break down. But I think it was just the combination of hearing he's about to die and his friend passing away. All of that combined in one just kind of made him spiral. We go into his story. He's living with a roommate who has a lot of money but doesn't have a job. And he has a crush on her. She takes him to a tarot reader to get his cards done. And pretty much the cards are telling him that there's someone that he likes and life is too short, go for it type thing. And he's thinking like, okay, well, maybe this is my chance to go after my roommate. I think her name is Jessica. But what ends up happening is she has a boyfriend named Carter, and Carter doesn't necessarily move in, but he doesn't go away. He's always there. And so that whole dynamic is so funny. I remember, like, you know, there was the time, well, like in the beginning when he was just getting really confident around Jessica. And I think he like walked in saying like, he was walking out saying, do I smell pancakes? When he went into the kitchen and he saw Carter there. And like Carter was like, he reminds me of like those insecure dudes that think that they're like alpha males and they need to be the dominant energy in the room. And so they flex their pecs and like do all this, like, you know, they beat on their chest and all that stuff like that to insert their dominance. And it's like the person ends up looking goofy and just ridiculous and looking like a clown. And so that whole situation, I think it's just so funny because it's like, you never know how things are going to play out. Because I was having a conversation with my friend and I was like, all he has to do is just stay in the house. But it's like the way that Carter was acting is like, well, Carter could be the one that ends up hurting the guy. I don't even know, because he seems to be the insecure, jealous type. You know, Ethan could look at Jessica the wrong way and he might want to like start some trouble, you know? And so who knows what can happen with that. But at the moment where I left off, things seem to be cooling off. Carter is told the story that he's going to die pretty soon. And Carter seems to be more invested in it than Ethan. Carter is like reminding him like, hey, like, you know, when's your birthday again? Like, you got how many days? You know, and I don't think it's like in a taunting way, but it's in a kind of like a goofy, like, I don't know how else to explain it other than like just someone who thinks that they're cool, but like they're not. I think it's funny because when we're viewing Ethan's like his story and we're going in his thoughts, like it's just like he understands that Carter looks goofy too, and so that's that level of awareness that makes it funny as well. I was also telling my friend, I was like, why don't he just move? You know what I'm saying? Because there was a point where things were getting a bit ridiculous, and I was just like, I would have just left. I would have went right back to my parents' house and just made them two unemployed bozos like pay the rent on their own. But I don't know. I just think that Ethan likes Jessica so much that he's willing to like put up with it. But like I said, from where I left off, things seem to be cooling down and everyone seems to be getting along. And so there's that. And then we go into Eve's situation. So Eve is like in her 20s, I think, and she is supposed to die when she's 25 by intimate partner by way of intimate partner homicide. By way of intimate partner homicide. And so with that whole thing, Eve is a bit nervous because what has been, and this is the part that makes me on edge. This is the part where I was reading and I'm just like, okay, I am genuinely freaked out. So her husband, Dom, they've known each other since they were dating in high school. It kind of gave me the vibes of like Splendor in the Grass, where, was it Deanie? It was Deanie and someone else. What was the guy's character that was opposite of Natalie Wood? But his father influenced him to break up with Deanie to soil his royal oats. It actually was really heartbreaking, but his dad has said something to Dom, and he ended up breaking up with Eve, but then they ended up getting back together and they got married. And so it was really interesting to me because my husband, he was my first boyfriend, and we ended up getting married at a very young age. And so some of the things that they were going through as far as like having our own place at a young age and dealing with the finances and all that stuff like that, struggling, that was real. That was like literally a thing. And so I felt like I could relate to Eve in a lot of ways as far as those things go. The issue with Dom is that he's a sleepwalker, and that's really creepy, because another thing that I was telling my friend was, you want to know what's really interesting? I remember like going not down a rabbit hole, but there was a point where I was reading and watching videos about people who committed crimes while they were sleepwalking, and they were trying to understand what that was and how could that be. And the person that did the crime, they couldn't recall what happened. Like, should that person be prosecuted? Is that person guilty? Stuff like that. And so there was like a whole moment where I went through that. And so to have that first of all, let me make a list. We got the tarot situation, the flight attendant situation. Now, like I said in the last video, I was watching vlogs with flight attendants. And then we got the sleepwalking thing. We got the 20-year-old getting married, starting a family at a young age. There's so many characters that have these experiences that are parallel to what I've experienced. I wouldn't say experience, but some of them I experienced, some of them like whatever. And so the whole thing, I'm just like not necessarily on edge, but I'm really anticipating to see how things unfold. The deaths so far are, like I said, I don't know if I said it, but the deaths so far are not main character deaths. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen. So I feel like Ethan is closer than everyone else. There's Ethan, and then there's Leo, and then there's Sue, and then there is Eve. As far as Allegra goes, she is supposed to pass. I forgot what age she is, but it's the age she's currently at. She's supposed to pass, but it's due to self-harm. But I feel like it could be anything, in regards to injuring, like hurting yourself or harming yourself. So I don't really know, but I feel like I was talking to my friend and I was like, I think that Allegra she seems to be the one that can fight this, because the whole question that is, I guess, we're exploring in this book is, can fate be fought? And I think for Allegra's situation, that might end up that could be fought if she decides to just like not do it, and that's what we were talking about at first. And so she's come to that conclusion as well, where she's working out and she's being around friends and family, and she's dating one of the pilots, I think, secretly though. And I don't know if they're like official, but yeah. And she is trying her best not to get into, seep into depression. The interesting thing is there's a history of depression in her family. I think my friend noticed that her dad dealt with depression, but I know her grandmother definitely did. And so I think her mom had her brother get prescriptions for her to take, so that can help kind of combat that. I don't know if she's taking it at the moment, but I know she is taking precautions as far as like just daily activities, daily things, daily reminders, so that she can, stay positive. I think where I left off, I think I literally left off from her chapter, where I think someone from the board or something has contacted her. And my friend and I's prediction was that she might get in trouble because she was supposed to make a report, but I guess she didn't. Like, I think her and Johnny, who's the pilot, they were talking about it, and she was like, should I have did something? And he was like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's all right. It's fine or whatever. But she might end up getting in trouble, considering the fact that they're receiving a lot of calls in regards to the death lady. And so who knows? My friend thinks that she might lose her job. I hope she doesn't. Can you guys see this? Kind of. So with the Eve situation, my friend and I, we spent a good portion like laughing at the situation, because when we were talking about the whole Dom sleepwalking situation, we were saying how oftentimes when we have dreams, a lot of it comes from the subconscious mind, right? So everything that Dom is pretty much taking in and it's affecting him, that's where it is starting to lie dormant. And she was explaining how, like, if he drinks too much, which is something that he's starting to do because he's stressing out, not just because of their living conditions and their financial burdens, but it's also because of this death lady and the deaths that are happening and that's going viral. It's only confirming to him that something bad might happen at his doing. And so he's freaking out. I think he bought like handcuffs and he's thinking about cuffing himself to the bed so he doesn't harm her. And we were predicting that maybe they might end up breaking up or something like that, because Dom might feel like he can't bear the idea of him being responsible for Eve's passing, especially since he has a history of breaking up with her as well. And so I don't think that that is far-fetched, but it just seems like Eve is trying really, really hard to not allow this to affect Dom, but it's like she's still doing things that allow things to affect him, like showing him the video for one. I was just thinking to myself, like, why would you do that? Why would you show him the video? But she showed him the video and then she didn't realize till afterwards, like, Eve, what have you done? And then like he crashed the car and didn't pay the insurance. And so they got like 2 jobs now, both of them. And so like these are stressful situations that that could affect a person's sleep. And because he sleepwalks, who knows how things are going to turn out. I'm not saying that he would, but I'm also not saying he won't. So I'm just saying it's a possibility. But like I said, Leon has a tendency to make you think you're going down this path, completely abandon you and go like the other way. And then you gotta, oh wait, what the heck? I thought we were going this way. I thought this was gonna happen. It's just like, no, that's actually what happened. As far as the Leo, I don't know. I just can't connect to Leo. If anything, he just kind of annoys me. It reminds me, I was telling my friend, it reminds me so much of my husband, because my husband, when he comes home, like sometimes he brings home work. Sometimes he brings work home with him. And that is super annoying. So having to see Leo and Neve go through that is super annoying, because like she's like saying like, hey, like let's go to the movies. Let's do this as a family. Let's do that. He's just like, oh, I got to do this. I got to finish this. And then like the boss like comes in like, hey, am I disturbing you, while he's on the phone with his wife? She's texting him like, hey, like about like work balance and work and all. And like, girl, mind your business. Like, and it's like you clock out, you're clocked out. Where's the disconnect once you clock out? I don't know. So with Leo's situation, I'm just kind of annoyed with it. Like, I don't really find too much of an interest in it. But like I said, Ethan's supposed to be it's supposed to be Ethan first and then Leo. Did I say Ethan? I meant to say Leo as far as like the workaholic guy. But yeah, it's supposed to be Ethan that's supposed to go out first. Ethan is in October, Leo is in November. And so they are keeping in contact with one another just to make sure, like, keep up to date with like what's going on with each other. And then we have Sue and Max, who I think Sue is supposed to be going out first, like way before Max. The chapter that I do recall reading with Sue is she goes out to dinner with her friend Katerina, and they're talking a little bit about it. But Katerina seems to be more nervous than Sue, because she sees the viral video with the first victim, and she advises her friend Sue to take a bunch of tests, because I think she's supposed to have pancreatic cancer or something like that. And so she's telling her to take tests. So Sue did take tests and the doctor didn't find anything. And so I don't know how that's going to go. Like, I don't have any leads like I do with Ethan or like I do with Eve. And then you have Paula. She started to take her kids swimming. In the beginning, I thought she was going to keep him away from the water, but she actually got him into swimming classes. And so he's doing that. I will say that I did cheat a little bit. I don't know why I always do this. I cheated a little bit. I went to the last page to see like how everything, like what happened. Now, as far as Cherry, I feel like I don't necessarily have too much of a connection with her as of yet as well. She doesn't really stand out to me like the other characters. I do like how the characters do seem unique. Sometimes when we are reading from the perspective or from third person point of view, you have this particular tone, right? Where it kind of feels like the author is telling the story, or whatever kind of personality, right, is telling the story. And then so sometimes the only way you can separate the characters, right, from that viewpoint is just by name. But each character feels like they have their own sets of personalities. They're very different, and it's easy to tell them apart, not just by name. They do share a lot of similarities, but Ethan, he comes across as someone who's very logical, someone who not necessarily thinks that they're smarter than other people, but he's able to have a lot of internal thoughts as opposed to saying it out loud. With Eve, she's very reactive. She's very impulsive. With Allegra, she's very, not necessarily headstrong, but she comes across as, are they considered type A's? Leo seems very much, you can sense the detachment, even though he loves his wife and he loves his kids. You can sense there's a level of detachment, which is different from Eve, because you can sense the level of attachment with Eve and Dom. You know what I'm saying? So I like that these characters feel different. They sound different. They behave differently. And I can visualize all of these things. That type of personality when it comes down to the storytelling. Now, I don't know if Sherry is supposed to be the narrator narrating everyone's lives, but the personality of the narrator even feels different from the personality of Cherry, right? So I don't know, like we can call Leanne the narrator because like that type of narration is very constant in all her books, where she is narrating about the characters in this kind of not mocking kind of way, but she's talking about these characters. And the gossipy style of writing, the gossipy way of storytelling is very consistent throughout all of her books that I've read so far. But with Cherry, what separates Cherry from Leanne, I guess, or the narrator that Leanne is trying to create, Cherry does feel removed from society due to her personality and possibly her beliefs. But she's very much removed in a sense of like, I guess you could say authoritative, in like an authoritative kind of way. She kind of comes across as like, I have to do this because I need to help to orchestrate or move these pieces. I feel like for Sherry, not in a demeaning kind of way, but these people that she has targeted, they are in a sense pawns, and she feels like she needs to move them, you know, along the board for whatever kind of like God complex like reason. And so that's why she does what she does. And I hope that's making sense. But they all feel very separate. They all feel very different. They all feel very real. And that's what I like about books. When I'm reading books, I want to feel the raw realness of these characters. The characters' experience speak for itself. And so, yeah, that's all I pretty much have to say for that. There's really nothing much I could really say. There's one more person that's supposed to go. I don't know. I feel like Ethan might be the one. I kind of hope not. I feel like if I had to choose, that's so messed up, right? I don't know, but I feel like it might be Leo. And that might be because I'm choosing Leo. But I don't want to see anything bad happen to Ethan. Like, I feel like he should get the girl, you know, because he does do a reading, and the tarot reader tells him about someone that he's interested in and that he should go after. And so I really hope that he can fulfill that. So I'm going to go now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys were able to enjoy yourselves. Till next time.